Stand by. The program will begin soon.
When I see an American flag, I immediately look at that I'm like, that person's probably a bigot. That person's probably a homophobe. That person's probably a racist if they're just flying American flags out everywhere.
Hold up.
Hey, this sounds more like a you problem. You should probably go see somebody about that.
We got over $5 million per year from the American taxpayers, being given no bid contracts from Maine Governor Janet Mills, and is building a military in Somalia. He has been funneling money back to Somalia to build a military in Somalia. The guy is running a migrant services agency that bills Maine Care, which is what we call Medicaid, about $5 million a year. Oh no, those illegal immigrants aren't getting any Medicare. And then he said he raised money in the U.S. to buy weapons, munitions, and supplies for a paramilitary force he had hoped to lead as the president of Jubaland. Yes, that's a real state in Somalia. And to be clear, in Somalia, he's running to be the warlord of Jubaland. Elections in Jubaland aren't exactly like elections in America. It's whoever has the most guns is able to certify the election. So he needed to buy a paramilitary organization and paramilitary support in order to win the election. Avocados Diablias asked if you could bring any one comic strip character to life and train them to be a hitman, who would you choose? Oh, that's the easiest question ever. Calvin. Calvin. Oh, look, Somnambule Nation, you and I are on the same page. Calvin. From Calvin and Hobbes. Yes. And by God, Calvin would be the greatest hitman to ever live. Better than John Wick. I guarantee it. I didn't have to think of it. Stand by. The program will begin soon.
Yes, it's true. The Obama administration deported over 3 million people, and the Biden administration, over 4 million people. But they didn't need troops. They didn't need military in the streets to do it. Tell me why. Put it in the chat. Tell me why you think that's that.
Because when Obama and Biden were in office, there were no riots in the streets of Los Angeles, even though 80% of the deportations were also expedited with no hearing. But you didn't give a shit then. Now that Trump's in office, you suddenly give a shit. Hope that helps.
That turkey was amazing. Mostly because I cooked it, because I'm really good at cooking turkey. So one of my tricks new tricks that I do, you know how when you cook a turkey in a pan, even if you got one of those raised pans, it always happens. You cook this turkey and the breast of the turkey get all nice, the top gets all nice and brown, and then you go to cut the underside and the thighs and legs are like all white underneath and not even done. Well, there's a trick you can do to avoid that. What you do is you cook the bird upside down for at least 1/3 of the cooking time. So you end up browning the bottom and sealing that first, even more so. And the other thing I do is I start my oven at 500 degrees. First 45 minutes to an hour, you put it at 500 degrees, and then you turn it down to 325 and do the rest of the cooking. But anyway, do it upside down, and 1/3 of the way through, then you flip the bird back over in the pan, and the entire bird gets finished at the same time. So apparently, in Europe, you can refer to Americans as pigs. but not convicted rapists. A German court gives a woman harsher punishment than convicted. I hate it when people say rapist. I'll just say unwanted sexual activity peoples for calling him a disgraceful pig. She called someone convicted of that crime a disgraceful pig and got a harsher punishment than the person who actually committed unwanted sexual activity. And so that's why people were posting that story about the German court gives women harsher punishment than convicted unwanted sexual activity.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
There's a story about this man too. He led the attack on Pearl Harbor but died a Christian missionary on December 7, 1941. Captain Mitsuo Fuchida flew the lead plane against Pearl Harbor, shouting the famous code, Tora, Tora, Tora. He hated America. But after the war, he met a former American POW, Jacob DeSager, who had returned to Japan not to punish him, but to preach the gospel. Shocked by this forgiveness, Fuchida bought a Bible and converted to Christianity in 1950. The man who started the Pacific War spent the rest of his life touring the U.S. and Japan preaching. Quote, I was a follower of the sword. Now I am a follower of the cross. Amazing. Nearly 5 years after pipe bombs were discovered outside the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National Committee in Washington, D.C., a suspect has been arrested in the case. On Thursday, federal agents arrested Brian Cole Jr., 30 of Woodbridge, Virginia, and he was charged with transportation of explosive devices, blah, 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 blah. But on Friday, legacy media outlets began reporting that Cole, this young black man right here, was a Trump supporter. And I'm not saying he's not because he's black. I'm just saying there's other evidence that might support the fact that he's not a Trump supporter. But we'll get to that. Quote, Brian Cole worked for a bail bonds company run by his father that worked to free illegal immigrants from ICE facilities and sued the Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security. He worked for his dad. They tried to free illegal immigrants. Interesting. Yes, I know every Trump supporter, every black supporter, Trump supporter, would be quick to hire Benjamin Crump, who represented the family of Trayvon Martin, attempting to sic the Biden administration Department of Justice on a local Tennessee prosecutor who had raised concerns about the bail bond companies. We'll find out eventually that this guy had wanted nothing to do.
Additionally, if you open this up to ice fishing, while on the surface it sounds good, then what happens next year? Does someone come back and say, I want an ice shanty on Hudson Springs Park for X amount of time? And if you then allow ice fishing with shanties, then that leads to another problem. Prostitution. And now you've got the police chief and the police department involved. Just data points to consider.
It is Happy Bill of Rights Day on December 15, 1791. The Commonwealth of Virginia ratified the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. George Mason and James Madison were the driving forces behind these guarantees of individual rights. And note that all the individual rights that are in the Bill of Rights are not rights granted by the government. Those are the inalienable rights which the government shall not infringe. And if you notice, it's interesting because the Bill of Rights is all about what the government cannot do, not what the government can do. And I think kind of got away from that a little bit, where some people seem to think that the government is going to grant you rights. No, these are rights you have, whether there's a government or not, and the rights that the government must protect for you. So it was a unique thing when it came about in 1791. that government is not there to grant you or give you privileges, but rather to protect the rights that you have. It's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only Dawg Knight.
Yeah, baby, ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday. Oh. What the hell is that? Yes, it's Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I am your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet. Welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel, where we talk about news and the events of the day and just the stuff that I can find on X, because it's always up to date and fresh and clean and, just like Barack Obama. So... hope you're having a good day. It's Friday where we do Friday Q&A also. Drop your questions over in the question box. I see AD and Lord Stanhope are already busy dropping some knowledge. Not dropping knowledge, requesting knowledge from the great one. Yes, that would be me, with my lowly cup of coffee. And today's coffee is brought to you by the Sunnyside Cafe in Black River Falls, Wisconsin. This place I stopped on the way to Chicago. The last time I went there, when we took my mother-in-law to Chicago for her 84th birthday, me and the dog drove by ourselves. They took the train because my grandmother loves riding the train to places, and that was a great trip for her. And she, by the way, if you're wondering, she's doing okay still. We had a little scare a while back, but she seems to be doing pretty good. So anyway, happy Friday, and let's go. All right, thanks to people who are here. Always like to see you. First in the chat today, Kara Soldier is here, gets the bell. Yes. So thank you for popping in bright and early. Also, who else was here? Was anyone here before you? No. Oh no! Gosh darn it! I am so sorry, JB. I didn't expand the box and didn't see you up at the top there. It was covered. Okay, Carousel, you got a freebie there because JB was first. I feel so bad. Yeah, it was JB. And again, my chat is the official arbiter of who is first, and it was JB. My apologies. Also, good morning, Kara Soldier, as I already said. And Avocados Diablo's here, of course. Also, good morning, Maddie. Maddie's in the house. Nice to have you here. Tall person, what up? Hoy to you too. Midnight, our young friend, Unholy Queen. Also, Miss Wild Wolf is here. Good morning. Who else? Mike Savage, Blarg. Attack Alpaca here bright and early. Nice to have you here. Johnny's doing his job. Okay, Johnny's going to be posting all kinds of stuff. Also, Unholy Blue, a.k.a. Midnight's boyfriend. He's Midnight's boyfriend. Go ahead and yell at me, Midnight. I see you hitting that cap lock button already. Also, good morning to Blue-Eyed Scream. What's up? Let's see. Selected Boys in the house. Yeah, boy. And as I scroll down, I'm getting close. Resolute Germ, what's up? Good morning. And Special Can Acid. Oh, not Resolute Germ. That's Special Can Acid. On my list of favorite Canadians, of course, Special Can Acid. So there you go. So there we go. That's everyone who's in the chat. I think I did announce a stream on X, didn't I? I'm sure I did. But speaking of which, there's a bunch of you who also have shared the stream already. Oh shoot, I didn't want to change that yet. Anyway, all right, I'll have to have a new one. Here's Maddie was first on dropping the knowledge of the show this morning. Thank you for tweeting out the stream. I appreciate that. I'm still calling it tweeting, I guess. Tall person also. It's funny. I'm looking at, here, let me put this on the screen. I'm looking at that thumbnail. I'm like, holy shit, JB Prickster barely fits in the thumbnail because, he's quite the large dude. But I should talk. I mean, I'm I'm pushing 3 bills myself, but I'm tall enough to carry it. I don't think JB is very tall, and he's got to be closer to 500 pounds. So I'm, whatever. Thank you, Midnight, also sharing the stream. Simon Wilkins with the daily photograph library. Looks like you're going to a trail somewhere, and this is a nice little paved trail with some greenery and stuff. I don't know where the hell you are that everything's green, though. I thought you showed me like a river in Canada before, and but apparently this is somewhere else. I don't know. Oh, somebody else caught the Ralphie May. Oh, this is not Ralph. That's Fluffy. I put up Ralphie May because it's the theme is obviously fat people, which is okay. I mean, it's okay to be fat. I mean, if you're happy and loving life, be fat. I don't care. Wait, what? Mary, what? Unholy Queen. What up, Miss Midnight? Oh, Simon Wilkins is here. What up? Old photos. Oh, I got you. I got tons of stuff. I should be starting making videos for my other channel. I have so much footage of places we've gone and done and trails we walked and whatever. By the way, when we went to that Chicago trip, me and the dog did a little walk. We stopped in the Wisconsin Dells on the way back. And there was this little trail that he's not flat, he's fluffy. Right. Hi, Darren Root. On the way back, we stopped in the Dells, and it was late September, so not a lot of people in the Dells. But we went down and drove on just this one public trail that went down by the river, and it was really nice. It was nice doing that. Oh, Scribe Lights in the house. Dog Thrapple. It's been a while since I've said that, Scribe. I'm so happy to see you. What are you doing up so early? I thought you're not this big of a morning person. I know that's why you don't see the show live, but damn. But anyway, I'm glad you're here, brother. Nice to see you. Oh, and also thank you, Miss Wild Wolf, dropping that Free for All Friday gif. I don't get the whipped cream thing, though. There's fire and the whipped cream and all that. I still have never understood it, but it's kind of funny to see the gif and gif, whatever. And then Simon Wilkins got a little anime gif here saying, let's go. So thanks, everyone, sharing the show. You are awesome. Greatly appreciated. Also, as of course, it's Friday, and every Friday is Red Friday, where we remember everyone deployed. So here's the cool message today. Good Red Friday morning, X. Remember everyone deployed, especially if they're in the Mediterranean right now, or just, I don't want the Mediterranean, whatever, the Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz and all that area. It's getting a little spicy over there in Iran. And I ran so far away. It's a little nerve-wracking. But, and there's one for AD. Now, granted, it's a AI photo or AI picture. But you know what? It's okay. It's just got to be. Wait, I need your address so I can say sure. Okay, I'll get you. I'll get that to you, Miss Wild Wolf. No worries. Pie in the face questions. What does that mean? Anyway, yeah, so anyway, it's Red Friday. Wear red on Fridays to remember everyone deployed. Whether they're, whether obviously there's no theaters of war right now, but there's certainly some hot spots in the world. Plus, we have people in Okinawa. We got people deployed out in different bases around the world. So that's just we wear red to remember everyone deployed. So there you go. Good morning. The Pope is here. Pope Tyrannus III. The Blessed Lich, with today's message of hope, not from the Father, not from the Son, but from the Holy Ghost. Today's blessing is blessing of the Holy Ghost. There are kind words and there are mean words. Sometimes kind words don't help someone be their best self. Sometimes mean words are said with the hope to spur someone forward. Okay, gotcha, that's good. Oh, Avocado Daily asks questions that make a pie in the face less risque. Okay, well, I didn't know pie in the face was all that risque anyway. Unless you, well, it depends on what kind of pie you're talking about there, honey. Oh, damn. I'm such a dirty dog. Turn that shit off. Turn that music off, Johnny. Johnny, turn it off. Turn it off. There you go. Okay. Anyway. God, I can't believe I said that out loud. There are minors in the chat. I can't be saying that shit. Anyway, happy Red Friday. Oh, here's another. What? I don't understand. So this lady here, I'm just gonna put it on the screen. I don't understand what she's trying to do here. She says, "Happy Red Friday." Oh, just hungry for a donut today. Happy Red Friday. She not wearing red. Granted, she needs a donut because she's a little skinny for the brothers. But I don't understand what that has to do with Red Friday. But here's one. Oh, this guy went home and saw his puppy. Oh, isn't that cute? Oh, don't careful there. These are dogs seeing their masters come home. That's cool. Those are oh my God. It has some. Oh, those are AI. That's got to be AI. That's AI. That is unnatural. Unnatural. All right, enough of this. Let's get on to some news. Holidays. Let's celebrate. We got to celebrate the holidays, of course. Today's featured holidays. For some reason, the first one is National Comfy Day. I don't even know what that means. Get cozy and celebrate National Comfy Day. Go sit on the couch and get a nice warm blanket and a cup of hot tea or whatever you drink that's warm. Hot cocoa. Some hot cocoa, some hot tea, some ginger, whatever, Oh, yeah, I see you. National Love Your Pet Day. National Muffin Month. Yes. National Cherry Pie. She's my cherry pie. Woman in Blue Jeans Day. Oh, yeah. World Day of Social Justice. Yeah, see, that's no. There's no such thing as social justice. There's justice and there's not justice. And social justice, you can't see the thought of social justice means you can have justice for an entire class of people, and that's a rare occurrence. You know what I mean? Maybe like when they abolish slavery, that'd be, I guess a case of social justice. But in general, social justice doesn't mean shit. You cannot equalize or equityize various peoples. Anyway, Women in Blue Jeans Day, I have nothing against that. No, I don't have anything against that too. The picture they chose is disappointing, but here, I got an idea. Let's find an appropriate. Let's try X and see if we can find an appropriate Women in Blue Jeans Day. Okay, so it's what is it? Women in Blue Jeans Day. Let's see. And I'm afraid that I very purposely did not put it on the screen while I'm looking at this because I want to make sure the jeans are on. Okay, so happy. Okay, this is pretty sad. This is what they came up with. Were happy women in blue jeans. Who chose? Why is this the first one on here? And okay, no. Here's another one. Is it like all the hippies doing this shit today? What is this? Oh, she's had some kind of I don't understand it. Sydney Sweeney has good jeans. Sure. There you go. Well, here's one. Okay, you know what? This is more appropriate. She's in a jean jacket, a jean pants, whatever, and she's by a Mustang. See, now that's what I think of when I think of Women in Jeans Day. And she's an attractive young lady. I mean, not super hot, not unhot, just a nice looking young lady in jeans, and that's what you should have on National Women in Jeans Day. By the way, thank you, Carousel, for dropping a deuce in the tip jar. You are the first. You are.
You are
the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Dropping a deuce, which we will clean up later, who says, "Pray Iran is dumb enough to touch our boats." Operation Praying Mantis 2.0. Yeah, she's not chunky at all. She's a perfectly proportioned young lady, normal looking. I like normal looking people. I don't need some fake hot thing up there looking all phony and shit with a lot of plastic alterations. She's the natural looking young lady. Leave her alone. Anyway, I know that the Iranian Navy is out doing naval exercise near the Strait of Hormuz. I think they're delusional. They think that their Navy is going to do something great against the United States. Oh my God, she's not wearing jeans. I skipped her. Well, here, this one's safe. It's a like a pinup girl type one. And, it's a little risque. Got the danglies out there a little bit, but it's, that's a good one too. And now she's kind of thick too, but you wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers. Unless, of course, crackers was your dog. So, it's just one of those things. Women in blue jeans. Oh, here's one with Marilyn Monroe. Okay, I'm just going to scroll down here. Okay, that's cool. We're done. Enough of that. I don't care about that. I don't need to put all the eye candy out there just because Avocados Diablo requires it once in a while. But I did get a like, I bet. Did I get a like there, AD? Good morning, Rick Ashbringer. What's up? Nice to have you here. Okay, let's move on. What are the other holidays, though? Here we go. I said World Day of Social. Clean out your bookcase day. Yeah, I got some bookcases full of books that I have not read. When my grandmother passed away, and this was, it must have been around 2001. I'm sorry, when she moved out of her house, she finally moved out of her house that she and my grandfather lived in for like 50, 60 years. More than that. Shit, they lived there. Yeah, they lived there about 50, 55 years. They were married 63 years. And then she lived on to be 101. And so I got the bookcases out of her house and all of her books because for some reason, no one else in the family wanted the books and no one wanted the photo albums, which freaked me out because I'm like, why wouldn't you want the photo albums? And so we end up archiving all the photo albums and then sending them out digitally to all our family. But anyway, she had so many friggin' books and I haven't read any of them. I'm going to start reading books again. It's something that I used to love to do. And I think I'm going to start reading books again. Anyway, Friday, Fish Friday, because, it's Lent. Also, National Caregivers Day. National Handcuff Day. Uh-oh. It's National Handcuff Day. Celebrate with a friend. Stop it. Hoodie Hoo Day. Hoodie Hoo. No One Eats Alone Day. National Student Volunteer Day. National Leadership Day. Brazil Carnival still going on. No Politics Day. Oh. I can't. I got a job here. And then whatever Mizoram State Day. All right, enough of the holidays. There you go. What's with these odd holidays? I don't know. It's just a holiday calendar. And for some reason, February seems like every day has like 17 different holidays to choose from. So it's time to celebrate. All right. News. Fourth quarter GDP from last month or last quarter is out. People are saying which was 1.4 annualized rate for the quarter is horrific. And the spinsters and full-blown pathological liars who blame it on the government shutdown. No, it's not true. What has happened is not about bad quarter four GDP growth, but the disingenuous quarter three number, which is almost entirely about the front running of tariffs from the prior quarter being reversed and reducing the net exports number. Anyone who wanted to knew this. May the people doing economics in the political realm regain their souls with their minds or both. Look, here's what the Wall Street Journal says. Breaking U.S. economic growth slowed sharply last quarter, weighing down by slower consumer spending and the government shutdown. Someone here with growth slowing. Our transaction data shows consumer categories outperforming right now are overwhelming value focus, dollar stores, off-price resale. Noticeably, that strength is not limited to lower income households. We are seeing higher income shoppers lean into value as well. Well, when you have uncertainty and people are all worried about what the tariffs are going to do, that's what you're going to get. Now, a lot of these people are going to be they're going to be just cheering and patting themselves on the back. Oh, this is Donald Trump's fault. This is Donald Trump. So anyway, Maria Bartiromo freezes as fourth quarter GDP crash is less than half of the expectations. So here's how it came off on Fox Business. Here we go.
I'm still getting some of this data flowing in, Maria, but I got to start with the GDP read. This is the first reading of fourth quarter GDP. We came in at 1.4%.
Which is not good.
This is even below the range of expectations that we got for fourth quarter GDP. The expectation was 3%. We came in at 1.4%. We were just looking here in the studio at Atlanta GDP now, which is sitting at 3%. I do want to add, though, again, as you know, this was the shutdown. We had a 43-day government shutdown in this quarter. That is certainly going to be
effective because government's not
here.
buying shit. You'd be amazed how much shit the government buys, but it's not just the government shutdown. But that's going to be part of it.
Now, let's go back to what we're seeing as with regards to the other pieces of data, Maria. Let me give you personal income. That came in at 0.3%. That is in line with expectations.
Okay.
Spending, 0.4%. That is consumption. That's in line with expectations. Now let me get into the PCE numbers right now. The PCE index, the actual was a gain of 0.4%. The expectation was a gain of 0.3%. Jason was just saying that was one of the critical numbers that he was looking at there in that data. As for the rest of it, within the PCE price index, if you strip out like food, energy, housing, you see that 2.8% number that was on target with regards to the estimates that we were getting. The personal savings rate coming in at 3.6%. And again, that core number coming in.
I want to see what because here's what the account that posted this says. Maria Bartiromo freezes. And he says crashes at 1.4%. Well, that's not crashing. It's just below expectations, but whatever.
0.4%. The estimate was for a gain of 0.3%. So a little bit hotter than expected here with regards to the PCE price index. But again, with that 2.9%, that year-over-year number, that's just slightly above what we were looking for, Maria. So again, pretty in line right now with what we were expecting as far as PCE income and spending. The surprise, as I just gave to you, was that first read on fourth quarter GDP. With the caveat of the shutdown, Maria.
Yeah, all very important information, Cheryl. Thank you for that analysis. And Jason, I got to get your take here because the growth is obviously...
Okay, did Maria Bartiromo freeze or did she just go right into the next question? I didn't see her freeze.
A lot slower than we expected, but it's a noisy quarter because of the shutdown. And that's what the Democrats want to see, which is why we're in a partial shutdown again with the Department of Homeland Security.
Yes, we're in a partial shutdown right now.
Yeah.
Which I didn't notice until someone said it yesterday. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a partial shutdown.
Listen, I just find it hard, Maria. Corporate profits are up about 13%. S&P 500 companies have largely reported. They're up 13% for the fourth quarter. Profit margins are hitting a new high. So I have to say I'm a little skeptical. And of course, the GDP numbers are subject to revision. And as you pointed out, it's during.
And what will that revision be? Well, that's what I'm curious about. What will the revision be? Because remember, when I laugh about this, I've watched this since the mid-90s. When a Democrat's in office, the revisions are always better. Or excuse me, always worse. Always worse. When Democrats are in office, the revisions are always worse than what they reported. When Republicans are in office, the revisions are always better than what was initially reported. But you only hear about, you don't really hear about the revisions so much as you hear about the initial reporting. So that'll be interesting. What's up with his face? He's got and he's got a Band-Aid on his nose. So that doesn't make for good television. Anyway.
A shutdown, government shutdown. Yeah. So I have to say, if you're an investor.
I didn't play the rest of it. Anyway. Here's how the dude from CNBC reported it, and let's see what he says. And it
comes in at 1.4. 1.4 would be the lowest GDP since the first quarter of 25 when it was negative, slightly negative, around 0.5%. Now, if we look at consumption, comes in as expected, 2.4.
So that's interesting.
About a full percent less than the sequential look at the final read last quarter. 2.4 would be the lowest since also the first quarter of 25 when it was 0.6. If we look at the pricing index, not good news here. 3.6. We were looking for 2.8. 3.6 is 0.2 lower sequentially, but much higher. Comes in at 1.4.
Fourth quarter, not real strong. And is part of that because of the shutdown? Possibly. But let's see. Foreign forecast Democrats trigger. Yet again, everyone on the right is saying it's related to the shutdown. And others are saying, well, you can't blame the shutdown because the shutdown had everything to do with it. Blah, 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 blah. So there's a little bit of a
I'm still getting some of this data flowing in, Maria.
Shut up. So yeah, there's a little bit of consternation in the markets today. They're down a little bit, but we'll see what happens because again, as they said, profits up 13% in the fourth quarter. So that's interesting. That's an interesting dichotomy there. And core PCE, we heard about that too. Again, slightly up. It's still under under 3%, which obviously the well, not obviously if you don't pay attention to this, but the target's always been 2% for the Fed, and so that's not happening. All right, other economic news though. This is interesting. U.S. trade deficit nearly cut in half since Trump got into office. The U.S. trade deficit has fallen by nearly half since President Trump's Liberation Day tariff announcements in March, with the December gap coming in at 48% smaller than the March peak. The combined goods and services deficit dropped to $70.3 billion in December from $136 billion in March, a decline of $65.7 billion according to the Commerce Department data released Thursday. The goods deficit alone fell 39% from $162 billion to $99 billion. Dramatic 9-month improvement suggests Trump's tariff strategy is achieving a core objective of reducing Americans' trade imbalance. But again, there's that inflation is stingy. What's the word I'm looking for? That's not the word I was looking for. I can't remember the word I was looking for. But the inflation numbers are kind of staunch. Let's put it that way. Good morning, Scion Wizard. Nice to have you here. So there's some mixed things going on, and also here's an interesting thing. One of 2024's most accurate pollsters puts Trump at 50%. Now, I'm going to put a big grain of salt in this one. Insider Advantage, one of the 2024's most accurate pollsters, put President Trump's current approval rating at 50%. I have a hard time believing that because there's, Democrats are hard, fast, no way Trump. A national survey of 800 likely voters. So I hate these. If a survey doesn't have around 2,000 likely voters and it's very spread out and diverse, I'm skeptical of those kind of polls. But apparently they have a plus or minus margin of error of 3.46%. So that makes sense when it's only 800 people. But anyway, it shows Donald Trump's approval rating basically mirroring or slightly above the national popular vote results in the election of 2024. Trump's disapproval rating sits at 4.6%. Again, a 3.4% margin of error. So it could be upside down or right side up. But that's pretty surprising and pretty good for considering all the consternation over, I've used that word twice today, over the immigration debates. So there you go. All right, moving on. And then what was the other thing I pulled out? Oh, this is news too, just a headline. A judge has halted the gerrymandering of the state of Virginia. Hello, Anon. 1, 2, 3. A Virginia judge has just blocked an April referendum on the Democrats' egregious gerrymandered map for the state. Tazewell County Circuit Court issued the welcome ruling Thursday. According to Just the News, the ruling was a response to an emergency filing from the Virginia GOP and Republican National Committee. The gerrymandering is not only blatantly partisan, it violates the law. Representative Ben Klein of Virginia was delighted by the Virginia court ruling and celebrated it as a win for law and order. He said the Democrats' unfair redistricting scheme is illegal. We are grateful for the court has agreed, or that the court has agreed and swiftly applied justice to stop this unconstitutional power grab that would disenfranchise millions of Virginia voters. I'm curious what the map looked like that they were trying to put together. Was this one of those big like finger maps where they'd have like the places, because there was the way they had set it up, they were set to lose 4 out of the 5 Republican districts based on just the way that they gerrymandered the map, putting fingers into cities where they could get votes. So I'm curious. It remains unclear how the referendum will proceed, though the state Supreme Court has previously declined to block the vote altogether, and a separate case is expected to continue on the merits. So anyway, Democrats are trying to make sure they will always have a congressional majority in the future with their preposterous maps in various states that eliminate multiple Republican seats. But, in a way, they're kind of doing that in Texas, too. The only problem is so many of these maps are already gerrymandered to have specific representation based on, I guess, race or economics versus balanced maps. So, in Texas, they're, like Houston, has these districts that don't make any sense. And also states like Washington, Illinois, Maryland, New York are all like gerrymandered to hell so that they don't have to have Republican representation. That's why there's only, or Oregon too. Oregon has, they have these districts that have like fingers into Portland so they can take votes out of Portland and screw up the representation there. So that's interesting that they've halted it in Virginia. It doesn't happen everywhere, but I think that has to do with Virginia law and obviously not national law. So interesting. All right. Some of the topics on X that are popping out today. This is a post on parents immigrant success story draws an assimilation debate. Now that's interesting. So this is the one that everyone seems to be posting. Well, anyway, someone says Shay, known as Juno Seo, posted about her parents' quick embrace of American life, calling it true respect and contrasting it with those who don't integrate. Replies poured in with similar tales of European grandparents toiling without complaint, while a post citing St. Thomas Aquinas on gradual citizenship for newcomers gained traction, amplified by Rob Schneider's sharp comment that non-assimilators are invaders. Not all agreed, blah, blah, blah. So here's the post. Where's the Rob Schneider one? Where did it go? Well, let's start with this person, whoever this imperator or something like that, posted about how St. Thomas Aquinas saw immigration. In his Summa Theology, St. Thomas Aquinas laid out one of the most charitable yet practical arguments concerning immigration that effectively shaped the West for almost 1,000 years. 1, immigration must always be proportionate so that foreigners can properly assimilate into the culture and the mode of worship of the state, which is interesting because we don't have a mode of worship in our state, so to speak. Citizenship and associated rights should only ever be granted after a 3rd generation to preserve the culture, mode of worship, and constitution of the state. Okay, how about just say the culture of the state? And then 3, the common good of the citizens must remain the highest priority of the state, meaning the state's obligation to provide aid to its neighbors can never be at the expense of the citizens. However, Aquinas ends with a sobering reminder that some peoples and states are incompatible with one another. Oh, look out. Look out. That's going to piss off some people. And these must be held as foes in perpetuity. Interesting. So, to which someone replied, I think we can consider Islam a foe in perpetuity. Okay. And someone else says it sounds very American first. So anyway, I was trying to find Rob Schneider's reply because he had, where is it? It's down here somewhere. This is an interesting argument worth a read. I can't find it. It was at the top, but obviously this stuff switched around. But anyway, that's trending right now. Also in the trending news, the featured articles, suspicious fire damages memorial for ICE shooting Renee Good. Oh, yeah. So we're going to have people blaming MAGA. Hello, Keisha. What up, Kirsten? It's been a minute. And also, I said not 1, 2, 3. An intentional blaze on February 17th targeted a fence section of the memorial near East 34th and Portland Avenues, where 37-year-old I keep seeing this description of Renee Good being repeated ad nauseum, where 37-year-old poet and artist Renee Good died on January 7th after an ICE agent shot her during an enforcement operation. Otherwise, it's a fairly neutral description of the event. Witnesses saw someone pour gasoline on wood and ignite it, charring the fence and items like flowers and signs, but no one was hurt, and police found empty gas canisters as they investigate. Local leaders like Councilmember Jason Chavez and Senators Amy Klobuchar condemned the act, while online responses highlighted divisions, with some conservatives criticizing Democrats, by referencing 2020 riot damages. So anyway, last night the memorial for Renee Good was set on fire and destroyed. Renee's family and the Minneapolis community deserve the chance to mourn her. This is unacceptable. We must hold anyone involved in this hateful incident accountable. Look, it is kind of fucked up. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And of course, it's my Congresswoman Angie Craig, who's quite annoying. But for some reason, that's a screenshot of Angie Craig's post. Oh, this guy says, after chanting "it's just property" for 6 years, Minnesota Democrats have finally decided arson is bad. Oh, whoa. Amy Klobuchar, the fire set at Renee Good's memorial, a site where many people have gathered to grieve and heal, is heartbreaking and unacceptable. Renee was a mother of 3, loved by many. Yeah, and she made a really bad decision. And unfortunately, and sadly, I will say, sadly, it got her ended, got her killed. I mean, it's sad. So anyway, the Star Trib article, is this a freebie or not? Probably not, because they don't let you read anything on the Star Trib. Oh, that is it. Renee Good Memorial Site in South Minneapolis doused in gasoline. Damage from a burning pile of wood was minimal, but police are investigating. Yeah, don't do that shit. Don't fuck with other people's shit. That's all I got to say. I am absolutely not a fan of demolishing other people's memorials. If they want to memorialize her, let them. And we cannot afford to forget what happened in Minneapolis. New for me for cafe.com, whatever. Yeah, they keep saying that they were murdered by ICE. Nah. I'm just going to say, you can't even see that anyway. Here's the picture I'm talking about. Look, the definition of murder does not apply in either case, I don't believe. Alex Preddy's probably, I would curious what the first officer who shot first, why he did. And I'm going to assume that when Preddy was reaching for his holster, that someone removed his gun. The officer that removed the gun did not communicate that he removed the gun. And so the first officer that shot is the one who was behind him, who saw him reach for the holster, probably saw the empty holster, saw the dark object in one of Preddy's hands, and assumed that was a gun, that he reached, successfully got his gun. And it needs to be investigated. I'm not saying that but the idea that you're saying that he was murdered, it's a very terrible thing that he's dead. And not that I'm a fan of his ideologies, but it's a bad thing that he's dead. It's a bad thing that Renee Good is dead, who died by her own actions. And in that case, there's plenty of court precedent to saying that was a legal shoot. Now, I don't think she deserved to die. I don't think Alex Preddy deserved to die, but their deaths were a product of their own actions. But I still say it's sad that they both were dead. All right. Anyway, so Yeah, and then, so now you're just getting posts. ICE has brutalized and killed Minnesotans, terrorized communities, trampled constitutional rights, and destroyed small businesses. And what have Republicans said? Crickets. So spare the full outrage on your political stunt of the day. What is the political stunt of the day? I have no idea what that even means. Thank you. Wonder how many of the Christians attacking Good's memory here know she did Christian missionary work herself. And okay, great. She did. That's a great thing that she did Christian ministry. Was that before or after she got charged with neglect of her child and left her husband and decided to go be a radical? I mean, she did Christian missionary work. She was a child. So, I mean, and good for her. I'm certainly not knocking the fact that she did Christian missionary work either. That's great, but it has nothing to do with her demise, good or bad. I'm sure she was a lovely person who lots of people liked. Good for her. That's good. Doesn't change the circumstances of how she died. And probably when you do an analysis of it, it was a justified use of force in the circumstances without the benefit of hindsight, because that's the law. So it's very sad that happened. Next up, featured art story. Oh, we got to get to Q&A. Oh, this is Minnesota's version of the, Sarah, what's her face, the congressperson thing. And this is State Representative Lee Fink, who's just legendary in Minnesota, the first openly transgender woman legislature, transgender identifying male. Representative Lee Fink, Minnesota's first openly transgender woman legislature, testified against, now listen to this, you may not have seen this one, testified against House File 1434, which is, we call them files here instead of bills for some reason, which requires age checks on websites with explicit material harmful to minors. Now, I want you to hear this argument from Representative Lee Fink on why this is not a good idea to have age checks on sites with explicit material in Minnesota. Why it's not a good idea to do that. And you just he's a gem. Let me just tell you. Here goes.
You mentioned the Paxton case, and the AGs in many states are very clear about that. They're almost jubilant about being able to use these laws to ban young people from accessing content that could be educational if they are queer. And you're a principal.
Remember what we're talking about here. Age checks for explicit sites. What did he say? Could be educational for kids who are queer. I'm going to just back that up just a little bit. Back that thing up.
Content that could be educational if they are queer. And you're a principal. You have LGBT students in your school. And we also know that they're not receiving sex education for queer kids. We know that prurient interest could be, for many people, the very existence of transgender kids. Oh. More and more people are saying there simply are no transgender kids.
All right, so we need transgender and gay porn to teach queer kids how to be gay and transgender. Is that what you're saying there, Lee? We got to have that porn for the kids because we need it because it's educational.
You mentioned the
it's educational. Do you think did he think it through when he said that? Kids need access to porn so it can make them gay. Let progressives talk long enough and they'll admit that even the most schizo right-wing conspiracy theory is 100% real. Isn't that special? Isn't that special? What's this? Literally didn't say that at all. Oh, wait. The Muse says transgender Minnesota Democrat Lee Fink argues that restricting children's access to pornography is harmful. To which this person says, literally didn't say that at all. Actually said that sex ed is good for kids and this law is made to destroy legitimate sex ed. Right-wingers don't want kids to learn sex ed because it helps prevent kids from being sexually assaulted. Holy shit. That's an interesting spin. That's a hell of a spin there. That was like some fucking, that's some ideological jujitsu that guy tried to do. Holy shit. Again, it demands we give queer kids access to porn for educational purposes. That's exactly what he just said. Amazing. I need that Jesse Lee Peterson amazing clip. All right, moving on. This is speaking of Minnesota, because we got to talk about Minnesota constantly. So this is interesting. The DFL, Minnesota Democrats, is what they're called, the DFL here. They posted this. DFL legislature introduced a bill to create an Office of the Inspector General and strengthen enforcement against fraud. Guess how Republicans voted today? Republicans said no. Oh my, this is terrible. Republicans don't want to fight fraud. They don't want an Office of the Inspector General. Oh, wait a minute. This is straight bullshit. There were two bills related to creating an Office of the Inspector General. They have not rejected creating an Office of the Inspector General. They have rejected your weaker bill. See, the Democrats tried to weaken the bill by making the, I guess, some of the seats appointed by the governor, which the governor right now is probably not the best person to be appointing anybody. But so they just lied their ass off. They said, they voted against an Office of the Inspector General. No, they had voted against your bill for the Office of the Inspector General. And also, someone made a good point, is that this wouldn't be, Office of the Inspector General wouldn't be investigating fraud anyway. Office of the Inspector General would be investigating the people in charge of investigating fraud, like the Attorney General or whatever House committees that do that shit. So, and in fact, the Republicans kind of said the same thing. Listen to this. Just in, Representative Jim Nass says Minnesota House Democrats denied a vote on the broadly bipartisan Office of the Inspector General Fraud Prevention Bill. First, they tried to make a near unanimous Senate bill more expensive and less independent. Then, when their boondoggle of an amendment failed, they refused to move on the broadly bipartisan bill or even discuss it. So they put up their own Democrat-only bill that wasn't getting support versus this bipartisan bill that had support, and they found a way to vote it down. So it's just politics as usual, a bunch of assholes. Now, but then you have people like this. Trump bootlickers will try and impede any and all progress towards a solution, thinking it will help them in November. How about some legislation that actually helps Minnesotans? Our farmers are going under because your cult leaders' bad governance. Look here, you little... Again, the Democrats are lying, and they lie often, and they have way too much power. They almost have all the power in Minnesota because the Twin Cities just dominates as far as population versus outstate. The Twin Cities votes for the Democrats, and all the outstate votes for Republicans, and there's just more people in the Twin Cities, so they get their way just about on everything. So it's just, it's crazy. This bill is nothing more than a red herring. An Inspector General investigates government officials. AGs have no authority to investigate the actual Somalis, or Inspector Generals have no authority to investigate the actual Somalis and their associates who stole $19 billion. That's the job of the state's lead attorney in Hennepin County and/or Minnesota's loon attorney general. And we've seen how well that works. Well, you know, it's funny though, all of a sudden, our attorney general is prosecuting some of these cases that have been, look, we've been talking about this in Minnesota for about 6-7 years, okay? And the whistleblowers were coming out like in 2020, 2022, when these programs are starting to get inundated with all these bullshit claims, right? And Keith Ellison, especially when it comes to the Somali community in Minneapolis, etc. What am I supposed to look for the chat? I'm getting there. Somali community did meet with them and say, oh yeah, we got to get them off your back. And that's the whole Feeding Our Futures things. It's documented that he was, meeting with them, and they did give some campaign cash a few months later. Not related at all. Wink, wink. And so they don't want the scrutiny. They do not want the scrutiny. So they put up their own bill, whatnot. And so they're just full of shit. It's like it's gaslighting at its finest that now they're seeing a couple prosecutions. Oh, we've been doing this all along. No, you ignored it for the most part. And finally, last year, as there was more scrutiny locally in the local news, now suddenly, the Attorney General is now finally prosecuting some cases. So anyway, so that's that story. What's going on in the chat that I'm supposed to be paying attention to? Okay, let me just back up here. Back that up. Check the he's a pedophile. PDFs needs millstones. Okay, and then educational porn. Wow, yeah. Wait, Unholy Blue is my hubby. What? Children, sit up and pay attention and quiet, please. But I am sitting up. I don't need a new. I see. You guys are all being goofy. Oh, I'm not teasing you. I wasn't teasing you before. Just because you have a boyfriend, you have a boyfriend, you have a boyfriend, you have a boyfriend. Anyway, back to the news. Let's see. I got to get to the. Okay, and then other things that are popping up. Susan Rice somehow came out of her hole. The actual president during the Obama administration. Offering a taste of what's coming should the left retake power. She has promises that Democrats will punish corporations and other institutions who have taken a knee to Trump. Here's Susan Rice. A lot of people are talking about this shit too, and it's funny because they all talk about fascism, but listen to how Susan Rice talks about things here.
Not popular what he is doing, but when it comes to the elites, the corporate interests. The law
it's funny she even mentions elite, as if Susan Rice is not one of the elites. The elites.
The universities, the media. I agree with you, Preet. It is not. It's not going to end well for them. For those that decided that it was, that they would act in their perceived very narrow self-interest, which I would underscore is very short-term self-interest, and take a knee to Trump. I think they're now starting to realize, wait a minute, this is not popular. Trump is not popular. What he is doing, whether on the economy and affordability or on immigration now, is not popular. And that there is likely to be a swing in the other direction. And they are going to be caught with more than their pants down. They're going to be held.
Say what? Interesting way to put it.
Held accountable by
like Bill has been caught with his pants down, anyway.
Those who come in opposition to Trump and win at the ballot box. And I can tell you, Preet, as I talk to leaders in Washington, leaders in our party, leaders in the states, if these corporations think that the Democrats, when they come back in power, are going to, play by the old rules.
What old rules? What are you talking about? As if you play by the rules anyway. You twist the law to punish people. You're all full of shit. Shut up.
And say, oh, never mind. We'll forgive you for
what?
All the people you fired, all the policies and principles you've violated, all the laws you've skirted. I think they've got another thing coming because.
Okay, you're saying a lot of words, but do you have any examples?
Just like when Trump thought, okay, I'll redistrict, and the Democrats won't have the guts to play hardball. They're going to be surprised. Democrats have had a belly full, and we're not going to play by the old set of rules when these guys are playing by a very different set of rules. We're going to play by the law. But
really, do you think you played by the rules in New York with that the business records case where you changed the law and then the judge in the case, you're supposed to have very specific underlying law breaking that they said the jury doesn't, you can just pick one. You don't even have, they don't even have to prove it. Do you think when they changed the law to prosecute Trump, or excuse me, for E.G. and Carroll to bring out a civil case, they literally changed the law for 1 year? The governor said that we changed this law for one person. Do you think that's playing by the rules? At least, we haven't, one thing that hasn't happened in this administration, they haven't changed so many rules that they basically just read the rules you guys wrote and use them to their fullest extent versus actually changing laws so you could go after your opponents. Reclassifying. Do you think classifying parents going to school board meetings as potential terrorists, do you think that's kind of changed the rules? Did you ever change those rules? This one's nuts.
Not going to violate the law the way they do.
Oh, you do all the time.
But we're not going to be suckers. And so I think, whether you're a law firm, whether you're a university, whether you're a media entity, whether you're a big corporation, whether you're big tech. We're going to go after
all of you.
You need to play a long game, not this short game that has been so detrimental. There will be an accountability agenda. Companies already are starting to hear they better preserve their documents. They better be ready for subpoenas. If they've done something wrong, they'll be held accountable. And if they haven't broken the law, good for them. If they've done the right things, good for them. That also will be noted and remembered. But this is not going to be an instance of forgive and forget. Right. The damage that these people are doing is too severe to the American people and to our national interest. But
so you're talking about a retribution term there, Susan. Susan Rice should be sitting in prison right now. Susan Rice, infamous propagandist for the radical left, ranting, known for lying. So anyway, that's why she's trending. Also, J.P. Prickster, everyone's favorite governor. A lot of people are mad at J.P. Prickster. First of all the Chicago Bears fans are like, what the fuck? Is our team might be moving to Indiana. Well, also, in Chicago, they had the governor address to the state legislature about the 2027 budget. Someone says here, cutesy time is over, and just like that, illegals can no longer get free health care through Medicaid in Illinois. Trump just blocked $8.4 billion for Illinois until Prickster rescinds its sanctuary status. That's exactly what I voted for on November 5th. So they're mad about that. That's let's see what he said to the legislature here.
Talked about the challenges ahead, and he blamed the potential loss of more than $8 billion in federal funds that the state is still fighting over in court as an underlying problem.
If you want to talk about...
Well, I know Chicago, but this state of Illinois, sorry.
About our FY 2027 budget, you must first demand the return of the money and resources this president has taken from the people of Illinois.
Has he lost weight? He kind of looks like he lost some weight.
Republicans said Pritzker's comments seem more like a presidential campaign speech.
Governor Pritzker and his Democrat allies need to stop blaming President Trump for the problems that they themselves have created. Record spending, billions in new taxes and fees.
You're talked about.
So, there's some heat on Prickster a little bit, but Illinois is dominated by Chicago, and Chicago votes Democrat no matter what. Also, this thing when he said he's never called Trump a Nazi, which is hilarious, and how Democrats don't call Trump Nazi. I think we watched this one yesterday though with Nicole Wallace, so I'm not going to play it again. And then let's see, Bill Gates is trending. Apparently, in the new Epstein files that have been coming out. They're finding a lot of stuff with Bill Gates talking with Jeffrey Epstein about the first mRNA vaccines, whatever. Jillian Michaels was talking about this at her podcast. Here's what she said.
Even on the radar, right? But then the pandemic hits. Here's the receipt that most people never see. In the late summer of 2019, just months before any of us ever heard the word Wuhan, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation made a $55 million equity investment in a small German biotech company called BioNTech. Now, at the time, BioNTech wasn't even on the radar, right? But then the pandemic hits, the world shuts down. BioNTech partners with Pfizer to roll out the very first mRNA vaccine. Of course, the stock goes nuclear, climbing from $18 a share to over $400 a share. That's a 20x investment. Just that one investment took Gates $55 million to $1.1 billion. So ask yourself, what?
That's quite the return. 20. What does he say? 51 or 20 to 1. Anyway, he made $1.1 billion on his investment in BioNTech just before the pandemic hit. What? That's shocking.
What do philanthropists do? Hold the stock, donate the shares, use the leverage to make the vaccine free and open to the world, but not Bill. Do you know any charity that operates like a hedge fund? It's
That's a good point. Anyway, so also, let's see, for years, Bill Gates went on TV telling the world that people had no chance avoiding the COVID shot, claiming the vaccinated wouldn't transmit and the unvaccinated would endanger their grandparents. Every single claim turned out to be false, all of it. And yet he walked away without a single consequence and a shit ton of money over it. And then there's also some stuff in the Epstein files where he was discussing this very topic with Jeffrey Epstein. So you can read through that thread. But ladies and gentlemen, I have to just stop there because despite the fact that I have all kinds of articles open, all kinds of tabs open, it's that time, ladies and gentlemen, for Friday Q&A. Shall we begin? It's Friday Q&A, the favorite time of every part of the week that everyone loves and anticipates with great joy and anticipation. First question today from Avocados Diabli. What a rare occurrence. Like AD just, doesn't ask a lot of questions, but when he does, it's extra special. Avocados Diabli asks, have you ever walked across a bridge over a highway when the sun was just right so it cast your shadow on the road below, and you played Frogger with your shadow and the traffic on the road? Yes, I have. I used to do that when I was a kid. We'd do that. We'd play Frogger on freeway bridges, and it was kind of fun. It was exhausting though. But yeah, Frogger on the freeway using your shadows. What a fun game, and that's a great game, and you should teach it to your kids. Avocados Diabli asks, have you seen anything about the mayor in Kansas who got busted for lying about being a citizen he isn't one? I think didn't we talk about that one? I could have sworn we talked about that one. Yeah, he had, I can't remember. Well, if you have a link, you can drop it in the chat or something. But yeah, I did hear about that. And it's funny as hell. It's sad too. Avocados Diabli asks, are orphans allowed to eat at family restaurants? Well, of course they are. Come on, man. I've eaten at family restaurants. Although, okay, let me ask you something. If you're an orphan, but then you get adopted, are you still an orphan? Like, you were still an orphan, even though you got adopted. And I'm pretty sure I ate a family, because I was 4 when I was adopted. So there's a pretty good chance I ate at a family restaurant before I was adopted. You know what I mean? And then I found my family after, so I'm not an orphan now, but I don't know what that means. Because are you ever not, once you're an orphan, are you never not an orphan, even though you're adopted? I don't know the answer to that question. But yes, orphans are allowed to eat at family restaurants. Avocados Diabli asks, how many guys out there do you think have unknowingly pleasured themselves to a picture of their mom when she was younger without recognizing her? Oh, God. It's possible. I'm sure there's more than one. I mean, think about it. I mean, think about the 70s, 80s, 90s porn people. And they use a stage name, and then they grow out of it, and they get married and have kids later. And then could you imagine though, your son, you're a woman who's in porn, and then your son is 18 years old, and you walk in on him and he's jerking it, and they're like, oh, I didn't need to see it. Wait a minute. What are you? Oh my God, that's me. Put that down. Yeah, ew. Yeah, good. Yes, ew. Okay, where are we at? Lord Stanhope asks, what was it like to grow up in the mighty Roman Empire? I truly envy you for doing so. I'm sorry. You get this wrong. I was not in the mighty Roman Empire, okay? I was in the Greek Empire. Get your empire straight. Or get them gay. I don't care. Kara Soldier asks, who'd win a battle? The Battlestar Galactica or the Enterprise D? Enterprise D? Or you mean just the Enterprise? The Battlestar Galactica was designed for battle, whereas the Enterprise was designed for defense. So I would say the Battlestar Galactica would kick the Enterprise's ass. Just saying. Avocados Diablo asks, oh, wait. Wait. Oh, yeah. Avocados Diablo asks, do you remember Pepsi AM in the morning cola drink they tried making that had less carbonation and a bit more caffeine? I do. Was that like in the 80s, I think? I do remember something like that. I also remember Pepsi Clear, which was weird. But yeah, I remember that vaguely. Avocado Stabby asks, if two men go on a hunting trip together, is that really just a date with guns? Well, no, it's not a date because, you should no guns on dates, and it doesn't even feel like, I suppose if, I don't know, maybe, but no, because no. It sounds like a remake of Brokeback Mountain, though. Lord Stanhope asks, how many days can you spend sober without openly praying for and calling for Armageddon or conjuring mustache dictators who could conquer the world? Hey, look, well, the hard part is how many days can you spend sober? Because just, although I think when was the last time I even had a drink? I think it was like a beginning of January when we went over to El Loro and had some margaritas. That was the last time I even drank. So, and is one drink, you're not sober anymore, technically. So, I could go years. So, without at least for the calling for Armageddon part, I don't know if I could stay years sober. Because I don't have a problem. People who are alcoholics could do it for years, I think, because they recovering alcoholics. 10 years sober, you could go 10 years without calling for Armageddon. And I don't want mustache dictators conquering the world either. So there you go. Lord Stanhope asks, what would it take to convince you of the urgent need in this country to have a nationwide ban on pants, skirts, shorts, dresses, and kilts? What is left after that? You want everyone to go bottomless? What does that even mean? Oh, wait, slacks. They'd all have to wear slacks? Because you said ban on pants, skirts, shorts, dresses, and kilts. So you left out leggings and kilt. No, you said kilts are there. Slacks and what are the sweatpants are technically pants, so you'd be down to slacks and leggings. And I don't want every woman wearing leggings. I'm sorry. Leggings, no. Leggings and slacks are pants. Not necessary. Overalls, those aren't pants. Everyone in overalls. There we go. Overalls for everybody. Hee ha ha. Ms. Wild was asked, what is the most embarrassing thing you have ever had to do in your life? The most embarrassing thing you've ever had to do in your life. Gosh. See, you ask these questions, I got to think back my entire lifetime. I'm fucking 61 years old. There's a lot of shit that was probably embarrassing, but I just don't remember. Oh, I know. When I was in 7th grade, I had to give a speech in the 7th grade, like English class, because we were doing speeches. And I didn't like do the assignment like until literally the night before that we were supposed to write the speech. So I didn't practice it. And I gave probably it was the dumbest speech in the end, because I just hadn't thought about it and I just made up some shit as I went along. That was embarrassing because I knew I was bullshitting. Everyone in the class knew I was bullshitting. I was just like, well, I guess I'm not going to get a very good grade on this one. Selected Boy asks, how many black superheroes can you name off of memory? Oh, man. I can't name superheroes off of memory very well, other than obviously Black Panther, Luke Cage, what's the one that, what's the one that the libertarian guy on YouTube started? I can't remember that one. That's about it. Well, Storm wasn't originally black though, but Storm from the X-Men. Johnny Flame in the second Fantastic Four movie. Ripa. What's his one called? I can't remember the name of the comic book that he made. But who else? Spawn. What was what's Wesley Snipes' character? Falcon wasn't originally black either. Neither was Green Lantern. Black Lightning was Blade. Yeah, Blade. Okay, that's about it. Off the top of my head, I'm not very good at this, but I can't name, like, if you try to get me with that's a tough one. So anyway, thank you. Thanks, a good question. Avocado Diablo asks, if you're in a chase after kidnapping someone and crash at the border and the victim gets thrown from the vehicle and lands in the other state, are you guilty of transporting them across state lines? Yeah. Even if inadvertently. Yes. Ms. Wildwolf asks, how long have you ever fasted for by choice, not medical? Yeah, I don't fast. Maybe 16 hours. Like, because to me, fasting in anything I've ever done has been you fast during the day and you can eat after dark or whatever. It's kind of like a Lent thing. Select Boy asks, if you were to write a series of books, what would it be about? That's a good question. Because I've been thinking about that. If I wanted to try to write a book sometime, it would it'd probably be some kind of like suspense mystery type thing, kind of in the like in the Robert Ludlum genre, kind of like that. But that'd be tricky. Lord Stand-Up asks, when are you going to church? Now would be the right time. Yeah, we're gonna go to church with my daughter soon, because she and her husband have been, he's been re-upping his Catholicism and she's converting to Catholicism. So we're gonna go to church with them. When was the last time I went to church? I went to church a couple times last year for various things. not necessarily church, but I was in a church. Let's put it that way. Avocado Stably asks, where is the most embarrassing place you have found yourself chained up naked and smeared with lard after a 4-day PCP bender? At the local swimming pool. Avocado Stably asks, do you ever worry that you will swallow your tongue while you are asleep? No, I don't at all. It was a worry when I had sleep apnea, but now that I've been using a CPAP for a few years, I don't worry about that so much. But when I didn't realize about the sleep apnea, I started worrying about that for some reason. Lord Stanhope asks, Latin rum or West Indian rum, which is superior? I don't know. I suppose West Indian rum, because like a lot of the Jamaican rums are really good. So, Lord Stanhope asks, did you know Halle Berry turned 60 this year? I did not. I didn't know that I was only a year older than Halle Berry, or maybe 2 years. 2 years. I'm 2 years older than Halle Berry. See, I would have had a chance back in the day, but I love my wife and I don't need a Halle Berry. Avocado Stably asks, if you were going to make diamonds out of squirrels, how many would you need to have enough carbon, and how much pressure would it take to turn them into a 14-karat diamond? Well, you'd need about 700 or 800 squirrels, and you'd need some serious pressure. We're talking thousands of pounds of pressure to get those things squeezed in. And because you got to squeeze all the juice out first, and then you got to make sure that you're, it might help to burn them first, but then you need about 14,000 squirrels, and you just burn the ashes and turn that into carbon. Then you even need more pressure. So there you go. I'm an expert on, please tell me that who's, TC's not here, right? I don't want to hurt TC's feelings, because that'd be the burning squirrels. Anyway, Lord Stanhope asks, here, let me scroll here. Oh gosh, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay, where is it? Lord Stanhope asks, in your honest opinion, professional opinion, as a bartender, what's the best liquor to drink upon the anniversary of the death of an unloved one? Oh. Well, best liquor. Look, that would require you doing shots. Okay, you do shots on the anniversary of an unloved one. So, I would say that my shot of choice would be Jägermeister. Because it goes down so smooth. Lars Stanhope asks, Marty, do you live in a serious state? New York is a joke, but we are as serious as a cancer ward next to Minnesota. Well, look, the perception you get of living in Minnesota doesn't necessarily match the national perception of Minnesota from a political or geopolitical standpoint. Living in my state, I quite enjoy, despite the fact that we're taxed probably higher than most, but you live here and you don't really realize it until you go somewhere else and live. And so, and generally in the suburbs where I live, the schools are really good. I wouldn't be caught dead having my kids had they gone to like any of the Minneapolis public schools, but the public schools in many of the suburbs here are excellent. There's great things to see. You don't have to travel far to get to, like state parks and stuff. There's a lot to do here. There's a lot going on. So, living here is actually pretty good. But we do get the awful reputation from what's happening in our state at any given time. So, but yeah, I absolutely love living here. Selection Boy asks, what would a dry spell mean to you? What would a dry spell mean to me? Well, we had the question about the sober. And so my dry spells go months at a time because I really don't drink that much. If that's what you meant. And if you didn't mean that, if you meant like just dry spell, like a dry spell with like my lawn, the drought, no rain for 6 weeks would suck. But for some reason in Minnesota, we don't really have big stretches with no rain. And that's the other good thing about Minnesota. Look, if there truly is a major issue with climate change, Minnesota is a great place to live. There's lots of water. The only thing climate change would do to us is increase our growing season. And you were pretty much not anywhere near anywhere that anyone would want to set off a nuclear weapon because, you know, we're out here in flyover country. So that's the other good thing about Minnesota. Let's see. Oh, Avocados Diablo asks, speaking of lizards, you would not want living... Oh, speaking of lizards, you would not want living in your colon. What's your favorite kind of noodle? What the... Do you know what that means? I have no fucking idea. My favorite kind of noodle? It depends on what... It depends. It depends. For example, if I'm making macaroni and cheese, I want elbow macaroni. That's my favorite noodle. If I'm eating spaghetti, I like capellini because I like the thin spaghetti. If I'm making lasagna, well, obviously lasagna. So pasta doesn't count. Okay, my other favorite kind of noodle that doesn't count as pasta would be the noodles that we use to float in our pool. There you go. Select Boy asks, if you give Moose a muffin, what would he want to go with it? If I gave a Moose a muffin, well, first of all, if you're going to give a Moose a muffin, make sure it's a carrot muffin. That's their favorite. Moose love carrot muffins. I don't know why. I have no idea. But carrot muffin. To go with it, well, let's see. A Guinness stout. That's what a carrot muffin and a Guinness. That's what a moose would want because moose or mooses. What's the plural of moose? Siri, what's the plural of moose? It's moose. Okay. A moose. They love a good Guinness stout too. Okay. Avocado Stably asks, should we trust people whose names are foodstuffs? You mean like Johnny Carrot Muffin? No. Staying away from that motherfucker. Avocado Stably asks, if you had to climb a cliff, but all you had was a length of 200 feet of sausage links to use as a rope, what type of sausage do you think would work best? Well, probably some good old-fashioned summer sausage. And actually, you wouldn't, if you have a piece of summer sausage long enough, you might not even need the rope. Plus, the skin around a summer sausage is a little stronger than the, say just a simple Polish sausage or a kielbasa. So that's probably your best bet. But you might want to use like 3 or 4 strands of the summer sausage ropes because either way, it's not going to hold my fat ass. Avocados Diablo asks, which is more appropriate for a black tie event? A tux made out of pancakes or a tux made out of waffles? Well, look, if you're going to have to wear a tux made out of, breakfast foods, I would say the tux made out of waffles probably would have a little more durability. Pancake tux would probably fall apart and you'd be like showing off your bits and you'd probably be better off. No French toast. No French toast. Okay. Lord Stanhope said that. Lord Stanhope asks, will episode 1792 be dedicated to Ridgewood Reserve 1792 bourbon? That's a damn fine idea. I got to be honest. That would be a damn fine idea. I'll have to try to remember that. Avocados Diablo. Oh my God. Stop asking questions now, please. I don't have time for this. Now I got to do lightning round for sure. Oh wait, did I just scroll too far? Maybe that's why I have so many questions left. No more questions, please. Okay, there we are. Okay, Avocados Diablo asks, how many iguanas would you need to equal 1 horsepower? 7. But only the big ones, like those big giant iguanas. No, you'd need more than that. You need about 15 iguanas, and they'd have to be the giant ones to equal 1 horsepower, because iguanas are pretty strong. Especially if you yoke them up and put them together, they pull in your wagon or whatever. Lord Stanhope, in your honest professional opinion as a bartender, is overaging a spirit possible? Oh yeah, you know what? So we tried. So they have the 150-year-old Grand Marnier that you can buy. We bought one when this is a story. When I was bartending at TGI Fridays back in the day, we loved to have our little, bartenders tried a little bit of everything drinking wise. And we're like, oh yeah, we're going to go buy a 150-year-old bottle of Grand Marnier because that's something they had. We were big Grand Marnier fans. And so we went out there and bought us a bottle of 150-year-old Grand Marnier. And we're walking out of the store, and our friend Jeff was carrying it. And we're like, oh, yeah, we're going to go check this out. We're taking it with us and test it out. And somehow, all of a sudden, we heard this noise that sounded like breaking glass in a plastic bag. And we look back, and Jeff is looking down at the ground with a bottle of 150-year-old Grand Marnier on the ground. All gone. And that sucked. And because it was back then, it was about $120 for a bottle of 150-year-old Grand Marnier. And so poor Jeff ended up having to buy another one. And then we drank it, and it was okay, but it was too like it had too much of that smoke. It was so old. It wasn't that great. It was good, but it wasn't great. I just rather drink the regular Grand Marnier. Okay, so yes, you can overage something. Unholy Queen asks, why do you tease me about having a boyfriend? Because you have a boyfriend. You have a boyfriend. I'm not teasing you. It's just fun because you get all flittered, Twitter painted and fluffed up and fluffered and flustered and all of the above. So it's just a fun thing to do. And there you go. Select Boy asks, have people nowadays suddenly forgot to look both ways before crossing the street? Oh my God. I swear, especially you walk through parking lots now. See, because now in most states, you're supposed to stop for people in a crosswalk or whatever. But people just fucking walk out in the middle of the street, and I bet you they don't do it in New York, but they do it in here all the time because they know that you have to stop if they're in a crosswalk, and they don't even bother looking sometimes. You go to a parking lot, and you're driving slowly, and someone will just walk right in front of you and just keep going, never even look, and you're like, hey, dumbass, you be glad I'm paying attention. I don't have I'm sorry, I guess I shouldn't. Let's just say that's come across my mind once before. Unholy Queen asks, aka Midnight asks, how come AD can ask weird questions, but yet when you tease me about having a boyfriend, he gets weirded out by it? Does he? Do you get weirded out by me doing the have a boyfriend song? She has a boyfriend. I don't know why I don't know why you have to ask. I'm not psychic. I don't have telepathy or anything like that. You're gonna have to ask AD about that. I don't know. But maybe because it says he doesn't have a boyfriend. I don't know. Avocado Diablo asks, is horseradish an acceptable topping for a sundae? Oh, hell no. Oh, God. Ugh. Just the thought of it is gross. Stop. What made you think of that? Maybe unless you made a sundae out of like hamburger, then, if you ground up a ribeye, but no, not an ice cream sundae. Select a boy, 7-Up or Sprite. Oh, I was always a 7-Up person, but I think I like Sprite now better. Although Sprite is a little more syrupy, if you know what I mean. Like 7-Up has a little bit clean and crisper finish. But I think I'm preferring Sprite nowadays. Probably because you don't see 7-Up anymore. Midnight asks, what's your favorite food? St. Louis style barbecue ribs from Oklahoma Joe's in Kansas City, Missouri. Although it's called Kansas City Joe's now. Avocado Down, the easy question. What is the least embarrassing thing you've ever done? everything but the most embarrassing thing. Because the least embarrassing thing, I don't know. I don't get embarrassed by much. So yeah, everything else. Avocado Salad, would making a line of children's cartoon themed condoms be going too far? Oh, is it hard drive time? Someone asked that earlier today. Yes, stop, please, no. Well, then again, what's funny? So today, or this morning while I was at work, I played a video about like a lot of like 20 forgotten Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I suppose for nostalgia purposes, yeah, you could do that. The problem is anyone who remembers those old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, probably a little too old to be fucking. I'm just saying, they're just, I'm just saying. And especially someone that you need a condom for. So, yeah, it's going too far. Okay, Ms. Wildwolf asks, have you forgiven all those that have transgressed against you? So, forgiven, yes. Do I associate with them? Not all of them. But I've forgiven them. So if they came back and said, hey, let's go have a beer, I would, but I've not. You're forgiven, but not forgotten. Let's put it that way. Ms. Wildwood asks, what's your definition of a church? It's a building where you go to worship on a regular basis with a community of people who, they don't have to be in a physical church, but it's a church is a community of people who worship together. That's to me. Avocado Salad, how do you always skip so many questions? I don't. Special Candy Acid. So it's safe to assume you passed your CPAP test? Yes, I did. Avocado Salad, have you ever found yourself trapped in a dark, abandoned building in which you could not see with a midget wearing night vision goggles who is running around fucking with you? That hasn't happened yet. First of all, I have pretty good night vision myself, even without the night vision goggles. Like, I can kind of, not that I can see in the dark, but if it's a building that even has a hint of light, I would kick that little motherfucker right in the head because I'm tall. Okay, Avocado Stalby, if you're in the middle of a murder trial and you have explosive diarrhea and really have to go, do you ask for a recess just to let loose? Oh, absolutely. I'd be like, Your Honor, I got a problem here. Can we have like a half day recess so I can, because you gotta have to go multiple times. Avocado Stalbias, just for the record, this is the only thing I typed after you told us not to, except for the next two. No more questions. Avocado Stalbias, did you see the story about the illegal alien who was found with 2 terabytes of explicit images and all of them were of that thumbnail of Adam Schiff? Thank you. I knew the Adam Schiff question was coming. And finally, Avocado Diablo asks, and if you did not skip questions, how did you not read the midget with the night vision goggles twice? I didn't skip that one. Stop it. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on the Morning Night Live. That's the end of Friday Q&A. I'm ending this shit right now before someone types in another question. It's gone, baby. All right, that's it. Thanks for joining me today. I got to go. It has to be abrupt. Here come the links. They're right here. I was already kind of ready for that. It's kind of. And there's a lot of articles in the aggregator that you should read. Do that at your leisure. There are the links. That's it. I got to go. Thanks. We'll see you next week. You have a wonderful weekend. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Hi, Swirly. I didn't see you there. Hello. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight Channel. If If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.